On this episode of Phinside The NFL, the Miami Dolphins have exercised the fifth-year options out of the 2021 draft class to no one's surprise or shock. We'll talk about that, how much those options are worth, and where the Dolphins go from here in regards to long-term negotiations. Plus, who was the best draft pick for the Miami Dolphins of their 2024 class? Well, it's kind of a two-pronged answer, and we're going to get into that. Plus, Mohamed Kamara sounds like he's already playing with a chip on his shoulder. Tyreek Hill calls out a fan and tells Dolphin fans to be patient, and we will talk about so much more. Do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jaelan Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! The field on the near side, that open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's going up for the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and you know we are back here for another one. We got a lot to cover today and go into on this Monday. I hope everyone is having a fantastic start to their week as the draft season winds down and, starts shifting and getting an early look at the 2025 class. Man, I want to thank everyone, first of all, for showing up and showing out. Both nights between X and YouTube, we had over 4,000 people live on each night. I got some plans to step up the coverage even further next draft season, so be on the lookout for that when we get around to it, which is about 360, 60 some odd days away. But I want to thank all of y'all for showing up and showing out, everyone who donated, everyone who smashed the like button, everyone who watched the coverage with us, watched along and live reacted. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It was good times, man. Good times. So, man, I just can't talk about how appreciative I am. So, enough. So, thank you all very, very much. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Knight starting things off, gifting an Phinside The NFL membership that Flea Firm got. I want to shout out everyone who's in the chat right now. Robert Thomason, Aladino Mass, Charles Hilton, Brad Martin, Bob Marley, Timothy Washington, Ryan A.P., Jackie Treehorn, John Featherland, Pro Special. Shout out to you, sir. Razor's Edge 44. Razor's Edge 44 said solid draft. You know why? Because Chop Robinson rocked 44 at Penn State. That's why. Jason Stamps, the homie Austin. What's going on? Foxing around. Mark Popelka, DF, Peter Gannum, that Dolphins realtor. What up, homie? Hope you're doing well. Troy Hicks, Scotty, M. Cord, Ted S., Duke Tomlinson, Jeff Premont. Obviously, Fee Firm's in the chat if he's out here getting, getting free memberships. Appreciate the compliment on the hat, Peter. Thank you very much, sir. Who else we got here? Sideshow J BGK. Thank you, sir, on the hat. Appreciate it. Paulie King 305. Darth Logan. How you doing, Darth? Nick. How you doing, Nick? Calvaca. Jeffrey Ward. The homie Rick and Tick. One of the OGs of this channel, baby. What up, Rick? How you doing, fam? Shout out, Knight. I appreciate you, sir. Caddy Shack. What's going on, sir? Daryl Wallace, Denisha, PL. What's going on, homie? How you doing, PL? Appreciate you, man. One of the biggest supporters of this channel. Love him. Brian Fawcett, Ricky, my goat. Love it. You guys' names crack me up. Randy Constance, Lord Duke. Salute to you, Lord. D-Hugga. What's going on, everyone? All right. Well, you know how we started off. I got to talk my talk. Guys, TJ Marshall, Keith, how's it going? Listen, I got to talk my talk here a little bit. Hey? Don't call him, Rick. Call him episode 36. You already know what time it is, bro. Rick and Tick's rant on episode 36 will always make him a legend on this channel. That's back when EM Dolphin fan used to be on screen, and the look on EM Dolphin fan face. Because, yo, if you remember that episode, we actually brought... What up, Jason? How you doing? Don't worry, sir. We actually thought Rick and Tick was going to come up. We brought him up. And we thought he was going to come at us. And we thought he was going to come for our necks. And it ended up being on the flip. And it was hilarious, man. Scott, I got this on NFL Shop. So, Jason Thomas, what's going on? So, Rick and Tick will always be legend. Because, yo, I'm talking about, like, straight face palming when this man went off from EM Dolphin fan. Oh, man, classic. Wayne D, what's going on? Me and EM still talk about you, Rick and Tick. Hope you good, homie. I know you're busy with work and busy with the fam as they're all getting as your kids are getting bigger and such. NFL Shop, Jackie. So I appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you, sir. Oh man, Rick and Tick, he's the homie right there. He's the homie. So he's one of the first people that actually he actually, was trying to help us out behind the scenes too. So shout out to Rick and Tick. He's one of the first that reached out and was like, "Lo, let me help you out with a few things." So shout out to him, man. Never forgotten, my friend. Never lost on me. Always appreciative. So, all right, okay, back to this. Kurok, what up? We gotta jump into this now. I gotta talk that talk and walk that walk. Let's play the game. All right, let's play the game. Let's play the game with everyone here, right? How they play the game. Let's play the game for a second. Guys, Trevor Lawrence got his 5th-year option picked up with no extension. He must suck, huh? Right? They must not believe in him, huh? Right? He must be playing on a prove-it year when that 5th-year option kicks in, right? Right? Just saying. No? Isn't that how the game works? Right? There should be options. According to some people in this community, whether YouTube, X, whatever, they're all over the place. No 5th-year option. You should be working out a deal. Blah, 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 blah. Right? I'm just saying. Why would we keep the same energy for Trevor Lawrence? Guys, I mean, man. Took his team to the playoffs in the second season, and look at this, man. They just won't give him an extension. He must suck. Oh my God. See how dumb I sound when I talk like that? That's how these people sound. Because we all, cool iguana, you're not only he made a playoff game. They must not believe in him, right? We haven't won a playoff game in 20 plus years. And you got other teams out here, the audacity of them not giving him an extension when he won a playoff game, huh? The audacity of that franchise. That's just unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. So I had to get that out of my system. I had to get that out of my system because I know I ain't going to hear the same energy kept for Trevor Lawrence's 5th-year option. And I'll be honest with you. Has Trevor Lawrence ever led the league in passing? And I don't want to hear no hollow stats bullshit because we ain't had no one do that since Dan Marino. And Dan Marino is forever in people's hearts for the 5,000-yard seasons and such. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Right? So, Trevor Lawrence is, since that playoff win, has been a middle-of-the-pack quarterback, while Tua has put up top 10, top 5 numbers in most statistical categories for quarterbacks. kind of hammers home the reality that there's 52 other players on the roster and a coaching staff to be accounted for too when it comes to winning, huh? Which I don't know how it wasn't hammered home to Dolphin fans. This is why I go back to, I don't believe these people were around during the Marino era. I don't. How many Super Bowls did Marino win with his supporting cast and coaching staff? And he had one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time. How many did they win? If anyone should understand, see, that's what's so frustrating about how people in this fan base treat the quarterback. If anyone should understand, it takes more than a quarterback who leads the league in passing. It should be Dolphin fans. It really should be. No other fan base should understand that more than us. I mean, anyone who lived through the Marino era should understand that. That's why I don't think these people were actually watching this team when Marino was around. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's this isn't basketball where there's only 5 players on the court. This isn't hockey where there's only five players and a goalie on the ice at one time. Right? This isn't baseball. This is you legitimately have 2 different sets of players starting on both sides of the football. Like, I'm just saying. So it just doesn't make any sense how Dolphin fans don't grasp that. If anyone should be grasping that, it should be us. And if you don't grasp that, I question if you actually lived through the Marino era or watched us through the Marino era. Right? Sorry. Other news today, Phill Simms and Boomer Esiason are out at CBS, no longer doing the pregame. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a huge fan. I think both guys are kind of monotone. Like I find watching paint dry almost as interesting as them. You know what I mean? So now Boomer does have a little bit more charisma. Let me put that's more towards Phill Simms, right? Oh my God. Now they've been there forever, so they're a staple. Boomer Esiason, you listen to his radio show, and he has a little bit more charisma on his radio show than he actually does on TV with CBS. So Simms belongs on NPR. So, it doesn't really faze me. Let me tell you this much. My Sundays aren't going to be any different. How I enjoy the game, how I approach the game on Sunday is not going to be any difference. I was more hurt when Dan, got caught chasing skirts and had to leave. You know what I mean? Because that was my boy, right? Dan was my boy. Dan Marino, Mario Lemieux, my biggest idols growing up. So when he got caught chasing skirts, backstage at CBS, that one hurt a little bit more because I love Dan. Always want to see Dan. I'd rather listen to neither. How's that one for you, BX? You like that one? Hey? You like that one? How's that? How is that? So exactly. Bills had one of the best overall teams and with the coaching in history, and they went 4 in a row and still never won one. 110%. Talking about Marv Levy. 110%. You ain't going to hear any pushback from me, sir. Not any at all from me. Never going to happen. People forget how good of a damn good coach Marv Levy was, right? He never really is talked about. People talk about Shula, Walsh, Belichick. Not enough people give Marv Levy his respect. I will say that. That guy could build a playoff team. They just couldn't finish. That was it, right? He could get to the finish line, but they couldn't cross it. So, hey, it happens, man. But he was a good coach. He definitely knew how to beat us up in the playoffs. And it wasn't Jim Kelly. It was coaching, defense, and Thurman Thomas. So he knew how to build them. So let's get into this. Shout out to everyone in the chat. And let's start off with the news of the day. The Miami Dolphins have exercised the 5th-year options on Jaelan Phillips and Jaylen Waddle. Now, for those of you that don't remember or don't know, the reason why Jevon Holland is not on this list, guys and gals, is because obviously second-round pick does not have the 5th-year option. So, you asked me what's next. I think they're going to be trying to get something done with Holland first. And then they're going to, I've been trying to get, you want my honest opinion? With the way the market is, you can wait on Holland, further in the offseason. I'd be trying to get Waddle locked up right now. That's what I'd be trying to do. Now, you might be asking, okay, how much are those 5th-year options worth? Jaylen Waddle's, his 5th-year option is about $15.591 million. Jaelan Phillips, his 5th-year option is going to be about $13.251 million. Because Jaelan Phillips did not meet the playtime criteria. So, Waddle is going to be making about half of the market value right now. Because the market value is now getting over $30 million. Obviously, because I keep warning you guys, they're expecting the cap to go up at least $30 million each season over the next 3 years. So this cap could be at about $350 million over the next 3 years, all the way up from $255. So that's why you're starting to see that raise. Right? That's why you're starting to see that raise. Waddle's, I would be working on Waddle, and then I would get Holland, and then I would, and then you got time for Phillips. Because you obviously want to see, he's going to bounce back. I'm not worried. So, this was inevitable. This is really no surprise, right, at all. We were warned about this. Not warned, but we were told about this when Chris Greer at one of his recent pressers. That's just, and shout out to Waddle because, he got his 5th-year option today, and he's going to be banging the drum at the Florida Panthers game tonight for all you Panther fans who are watching. So, yeah, listen, this needed to happen. This needed to be done. It was inevitable. And now Holland's extension, really Waddle need to be the focus in terms of extensions now. Waddle, you got to get out ahead of this market before the rest of the, before Jamar Chase gets extended. You really do. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. You need to get out ahead of it. He's the heir, Waddle's the heir apparent to Tyreek. Get it done. Don't play around. Don't play with fire because you're going to get burned. That's where I'm at with this. So, get out ahead. Please get out ahead. And then Holland, listen, I was having a conversation with John, one of the Patreons today, and we were talking about Justin Simmons because he heard me bring him up. Listen, Justin Simmons gives you leverage even if you bring him on a mercenary deal. You get him in the building for this year, right? And you get him in the building, and guess what? Jevon Holland starts playing hardball. We got Justin Simmons in the clip, brother. One of you is going to take the money. And you can even tell, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, yeah, it's a 1-year deal, but if things go sideways in negotiations with Jevon Holland and you perform this year, you're the guy. Brad Martin, member of 13 months, the homie Brad, says, what a time to be a Dolphins fan. Fins up, love your reason, love you too, Brad. Thank you for supporting the channel and being active in the chat and really being around when I go live, man, for watching me while I'm live and participating. I appreciate it. So, Justin Simmons, there's a play there with that. What's up, Dad Dean? Reason is Dolphin fans realizing it's been toxic. That's why over the last, almost 3 years, I've fallen back. If you look at it, right? 2019, 2020, 2021, starting into 2022, I was very active on Twitter. Now, I was active during draft season here, but I was very active in Twitter, and I've been falling back 2022, 2023, and, because it is, Shout out to Brad Martin, gifted 5 Phinside The NFL memberships. Coke Master D, Darth Logan, Dennis, 1896 Vice. They all benefited from those memberships, and so did Mark Ricardo. Scotty says, another awesome draft season. Many thanks for all your hard work. Looking forward to the season. We're just getting started here, Scotty. I appreciate you, and I'm going to step up my coverage a little bit more next year. I got some more content ideas, and I'm working on something. No, I'm just theorizing, Peter. I've got something in the works that hopefully can come to fruition for you guys that you guys might like. All right? Well, I know you'll like, so. All right? So hopefully it just comes together. Reminder, I'm going to be doing the content creator show sometimes in May, but I'm talking about some stuff that's totally different. So trying to pull some strings behind the scenes. So we'll see what happens. All right. Let's keep it going. Man, big news today. Good news stuff. Wait a look at starting the week after the 2024 draft off right with some Phinside the NFL and the 5th-year options starting to get exercise of the 2021 draft class. Gotta love it. How can you not love it? How can you not love it? All right, let's move on. And let's start off with this. All right, let's start off with this. People ask me, Reason, who's the favorite pick? Reason, who's the best pick? So I'm going to answer who I think the best pick is. But it's a two-pronged answer. Okay? This is how I look at it. This is how I'm looking at it. There is a most talented pick and there is a best value pick. You can base what the best pick is off the most talented player taken and the highest value player taken. You really can. So I'm going to give you both. Who I think is the most talented player we took and who I think is the best value pick we took. All right? So, and let's get into this. All right? So, who was the most talented player the Miami Dolphins drafted? It's Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson, I believe, with Amarius Mims, has the highest ceiling in this draft. So, listen. And people are saying, well, the production, Reason, the production. Well, guess what? TJ Watt had 10 sacks at Wisconsin. Danielle Hunter had 4.5 sacks at LSU. You want me to keep it Dolphins-oriented for you? I got you. No worries. Who here remembers Olivier Vernon? Right? You Miami Hurricane fans in the chat. And Dolphin fans from back in the day. Y'all remember Olivier Vernon? Tell me if you remember Olivier Vernon in the chat. Okay? Let me know. I want to know Hurricane fans and if they remember how he was. Remember, when he was at Miami with the Miami Hurricanes at the U, Martin Ukpai was playing him for FAMU. Okay, you guys remember Olivier Vernon, right? Olivier Vernon had only 9 sacks in college, but he had 11.5 sacks in his second year with the Dolphins, and he had 63.5 sacks in 127 NFL games. Yeah, Nick, remember we let him go walk to the Giants? So this whole notion that college production automatically tells you it's nonsense. Again, watch the film over the box score. This is the problem with these people who are talking, who have never actually watched the tape, never actually evaluated these players. They can't give you educated and formulated opinions on them. They can only give you the opinions of the box score or other draft analysts they read. They can't give you their own. They haven't watched them enough. Not only do they not have they not watched them enough, a lot of these people don't even know how to watch film, let alone actually evaluate a player. I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never heard someone give their own written evaluation of player or players, why are you even listening to their takes on what players are right now, can be in the future, et cetera, et cetera? They've proven nothing to you. I've been up here writing evaluations because I've been a draft nerd for over 20 years, but I've been up here writing evaluations since 2020 for y'all. So, Chop Robinson, when you talk about talent, it's all there. We're talking about the most explosive player in the draft. Like, in terms of the edge class. We're talking about crazy bend, crazy flexibility, crazy upper body strength that helps him convert speed to power. Very strong hands. I mean, we are talking about a guy who's got traits you cannot teach. And all he needs to be up is coached up a little bit in his technique. And he'll be a freaking monster. You could be looking back in 2 to 3 years in this draft class, and Chop Robinson is very well the most dominant pass rusher from this class. That is, and you're looking at a guy who can be a top 10, top 5 impact rusher in the NFL in 2 or 3 years, and I'm not even gassing it. So, him and Kamara were 2 studs we added to the edge, to the edge, man. 2 studs. Bradley Chubb better be looking over his shoulder. But Chop Robinson, when you talk about the most talented player the Miami Dolphins took in this class, it's Chop Robinson, man. And I don't think many people would argue that. I really don't think. Yeah, Peter, Cam Wake wasn't a monster college. He had to go play in the CFL. Y'all remember that? So, and like, when you talk about Chop Robinson, he also had the 6th best pass rush win rate, like the 6th best in the nation, at 20.8%. He had the best in this edge class in terms of quick pressure rate, 13%. Second in time to pressure, only took him about 2.28 seconds. And he was 3rd overall in pressure rate at 18.7. And again, I say this. Do we have amnesia? Do we forget what Anthony Weaver did with Justin Matabuki and defensive linemen in Baltimore? I mean, between him and Butch Berry, we have legitimate guys in terms of developing and squeezing every last drop of juice out of the orange, production and developmental wise, in Butch Berry and Anthony Weaver. Like, I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Knight says Daniel Hunter had 4.5 in college. I said that, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I listed him. Right? I'm pretty sure I listed him. Yeah, I said he had 4.5 sacks at LSU. TJ Watt had 10. Olivier Vernon had 9 in college, but had 11.5 in his second year. Who's it harder to beat? Collegiate tackles or NFL tackles? So, people do not understand. Guys, let me just break it down for you. People do not understand how explosive this kid's first step is. Like, first step, he's in the backfield. Like, Jackie says Grayson Murphy, UDFA from UCLA, had one of the highest career QB pressures out of all the guys in the class. That is definitely correct. Right? And I've talked about Grayson Murphy. He's the twin brother of Gabriel Murphy, who made my top. Grayson Murphy. Garrison Murphy is the brother of Gabriel Murphy. They were twins playing at UCLA. Now, Gabriel Murphy made my top 15. And you're right. Grayson Murphy had 172 pressures. Gabriel Murphy had 165 when you look at this draft class. Grayson Murphy's a good player. He would have made my top 20 if I would have given you guys 20 names because I watched him. He's a good player. He's a good player, man. His brother is good too. UCLA had good pass rushers. Good pass rushers, man. I'm not even just saying that. They legitimately did. Right? So, okay. Who would be the Miami Dolphins' highest value 2024 draft pick? All right? Who would it be? Now, I see Malik Washington, and it was, Malik Washington and Mohamed Kamara could be, in the argument here. I agree 110%. You will not get an argument from me because, when you look at Malik Washington, he was expected to be off by around 83 when you look at draft player values and draft capital over expectation. Malik Washington was expected to be picked by pick 83, and we took him at 184. So that's like a plus 101 value if you think about it, right? Taj Washington was expected to be gone by 179. We took him at 241. That's 62 points. Kamara was about 55 points, right? Expected to be gone around 103. We took him at 158. I'm sorry, though. I have to say, you could go with any of those guys, but I have to go with Jalen Wright when I add in the factor in the talent. When you talk about the most talented guys we got on that day, it's obviously, in my opinion, Wright, Kamara, and Malik Washington. But Jalen Wright, listen, with Mostert probably, not here for the next 2 years, with Jeff Wilson, Salvin Ahmed, and Chris Brooks all expendable, we are looking at a future backfield of Jalen Wright and Devon Achane, and oh my God, if you watch the film, you salivate. I honestly think, can I be honest with you guys? Mostert, Wright, and Achane are going to be one of the best running back trios in the league. I mean, you're talking about a guy with crazy contact balance, consistently creates after contact. He had over 500 yards after contact the last 2 years in each year. All right? Averaged over 4 yards after contact per attempt. Averaged over 7 yards per carry overall. You look at 2022, he's a finisher inside the 10-5 yard line. Jalen Wright, when you look at the talent, when you look at where we got him, because he was expected to go at about 73. We got him at 120. And what's also good about this, we have 3 third round picks, next year, 2 compensatories, and the 1 we traded away. So we still got 2 third round picks coming our way. I really think when you look at what this player is and where we got him compared to where he should have gone, you're talking about a top, I told you, a top 60, top 70 player. All right, top 75 player, we got a 120. And what you got to love is what happened? They got out ahead of the run on running backs. So, Jalen Wright, to me, he shouldn't have been on the board. I mean, you can say that about Kamara and Malik Washington and Taj, I agree. But this guy should have been gone on day 2. The rest of the guys should have been around on day 3. Mohamed Kamara should have gone early day 3. And the rest of them should have got mid day 3, right? He should have been gone on day 2. He should not have been on the board on day 3. So, Jalen Wright, to me, is the highest value pick the Miami Dolphins made. When you take in the talent, where he was drafted, what he offered, what he brings to this team. Jalen Wright, baby. Jalen Wright. Now, what do Jalen Wright and Chop also have in common? Right? I don't know if you guys were on Twitter and you saw me today. Shout out to Visually J for those jersey swaps. Go follow him on Instagram and Twitter. The Miami Dolphins, since I created this channel in March 2020, the Miami Dolphins have drafted 6 players off my man crush list. At least one player in every draft. And half of the drafts, I've had 2 players in those drafts. Tua Tagovailoa in 2020, along with Curtis Weaver. Remember, my other man crushes were Jonathan Taylor, Antoine Winfield, Tristan Wirfs back then, right? 2021, Javon Holland, who I had been talking about a year before. And all the, 2020, you got to go back and watch the videos of I talk about my man crushes. 2021, 2022, and 2023, those are available. You can search that on Twitter so you can see those. 2021, Javon Holland. 2022 was Devon Achane. 2023, they took a 2 again. Now, hopefully, and I 110% believe Chop will work out better than Curtis Weaver. But, hopefully he does work out better. But, listen, I tell y'all every year, always pay attention to the Reasons Man Crush list. So, 4 years in a row, they've at least taken one player off my Man Crush list. In 2020, it was like a half a dozen guys. In 2021, I listed someone for each position. Some of them had 2. Like for 2021 at safety, I liked that was one of the few positions where I liked 2 guys. I liked Ardarius Washington and Javon Holland. 2022, I started doing 2 guys at each position. In 2023, I mean, Chop, I've been talking about since December, January on this channel. So he was one of my biggest man crushes of this whole draft, let alone at edge. So Jalen Wright was my guy at running back along with Trey Benson. So listen, the man crush lists, they're worth keeping the eye on, baby. They're worth keeping the eye on. Because, should be jotting down those names and researching them when I drop them. So, gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. Now, let's stick with the draft a little bit here. We got a couple things to go through. Mohamed Kamara already looks like he's got that chip on his shoulder that we love. So, Mohamed Kamara is very, very angry he was picked in the 5th round. The Dolphins drafted Colorado State pass rusher Mohamed Kamara with the 158th pick on Saturday, and he wasn't happy about it. Not that Kamara isn't happy to be a Dolphin, but he said in his first video call with reporters that he believes he should have been a higher pick and wants to make teams regret passing on him. To be honest, I'm very excited, but I'm also very, very angry going in the round I did. That's just my personality. I knew I could have gone higher, and I wanted to go higher. But the lovely team of Miami picked me up, and I'm going to give them that burning desire. I have a chip on my shoulder, so it's just got even greater. Everybody else, all 31 teams, look out. Because the way I'm about to play against these guys, you should have picked me before. Kamara was the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year last season, but there were questions about whether he's big enough at 6'1" and 248 pounds and the length, right? There were questions about whether that length and his size make him a viable edge rusher in the NFL. Everything that people knocked me for, he said, I use it as fuel. If you want to call me short, watch out. If you don't believe in me, watch out. Listen, we're going to be watching, Kamara. We're going to be watching you ball out. I'm telling you, mark my words. Chubb's going to be feeling I know I said, and I do, Kamara and Chop were brought in, so there's no pressure on Jalen or Bradley Chubb to move themselves back, right? There's there's no pressure on them to get back. That's why these picks were made. But I'm gonna tell you this: the competitor in Bradley Chubb, when he sees Kamara and when he sees Chop, man, when he sees Chop and when he sees Kamara this year, I feel internally in him. Now, there's not going to be internal pressure in the building, but internally, the competitor in him, he's going to put pressure on himself. Hopefully, he doesn't rush himself back. Seriously. Because we need you at your best for this playoff run. Shout out to Alf. Alf's going to be coming on, in the next few weeks here. We're going to set something up over the next 2 weeks. He says, how did Mo Kamara not make your man crush list? Because Laiatu Latu was the other one, brother. The max I'll go is 2, right? The 2 guys I love the most. And, Kamara was a fantastic. Jared Verse was fun to watch. There were so many guys in that class that were fun to watch. But Latu and Chop, and Chop was probably my biggest man crush of the draft, really. But they were just unbelievable. So, you look at that edge class, there's some freaking talent, man. Holy jeez. And what's crazy is we got one guy who's got all the talent in the world and all the tools to be the most impactful pass rusher in this class. Then we got another guy who's got this massive world-sized chip on his shoulder to prove he's the best in the class. Man, that is a recipe that I cannot wait to see Anthony Weaver grow and develop, man. The magic is, y'all are going to start calling Butch Berry Houdini when you see what he does with these guys. I'm telling you, man. And I saw someone earlier said, they're worried about the defensive tackles we have. Listen, go look at them, right? I think you're going to see Sealer's game to go another level, but go to Baltimore. They work off that rotation. So I'm fine. I think Benito Jones is going to play the best ball of his life here. I think T.R. Tart is going to be a lot better than people seem to be forgetting him. And I think T.R. Tart, another guy who's got something to prove under a great defensive line coach who's our defensive coordinator and another great defensive line coach in Austin Clark. That's the other factor. It's not just Weaver, it's Austin Clark, who's proven to be very good at his job. Very good at his job. So I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm going to be honest. Can't wait. Now, the Miami Dolphins, they are announcing some more tryouts for the team. And here's a couple of those names, all right? So, this is from Barry Jackson's article where he went over Paul and Patrick Paul, and he got feedback from Jim Nagy and those guys on Patrick Paul and such. In addition to adding 12 undrafted rookies to standard contracts, Miami continues to invite undrafted rookies to try out for the team during its May 10th and 11th rookie minicamp. The latest tryout players whose names have leaked: Michigan State defensive tackle Jalen Sammy. He was at Colorado State. Is that who I think it is? Hold on a sec here. Is that who I think it is? I'm pretty sure. Hold on a sec. Hold on, give me 1 second. Because there is another interior player on Colorado State. When you watch the Kamara film, he was freaking. He was good. He was good. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch because I watched some Fresno and then I watched Colorado State. No, it's not the guy I'm thinking of. Anyways, so Jalen Sammy is being added. San Diego, I'll get that name for you. I'll go back and watch tonight. But there was another kid on that line who was just pretty good. I forget the kid's name. San Diego State cornerback Noah Tumblin. He had 3 interceptions, 14 passes defended over the past 2 seasons. Sammy had 6.5 tackles for a loss and 2.5 sacks in 4 years at Colorado State. They added another defensive tackle in Tyler Bentley, 10.5 tackles for a loss from Pitt, 3.5 sacks in college career. And Eastern Michigan running back Samson. I want to talk to Samson Evans, who averaged 4.5 yards on 500. Good luck to him. Good luck to Samson Evans. All right. Now, scored a lot of touchdowns. And put up yards over his time there. But my God, talk about an uphill battle. I'm going to be honest with you. Shout out to Samson just for taking on that battle. He probably could have gone somewhere else where they didn't draft Jalen Wright, had A-Chain and Mostert already locked up. Shout out to Samson for taking on that battle. You know what, Samson? I'm rooting for you because the set of cojones you're showing by coming into this room. I mean, you can take Salvin Ahmed out. That won't be very hard. Just show up in the preseason, put a couple videos on the line, you'll be good to go. But shout out to Samson. I'm going to shout out Samson here because, listen, I'm going to watch some of his film too tonight. You got to shout him out. You got to shout him out for taking that job on. 6 foot 217 too, so we'll see what he turns into. So the Dolphins typically announce undrafted rookie contracts and tryout players close to the team's minicamp or at the camp. The dozen rookies signed to standard deals count against a 90-man roster. Tryouts do not. Now, counting those 12, the Dolphins are at 87. So they got 3 spots. Is one of those spots for OBJ or Justin Simmons? Time will tell. Time will most definitely tell. And another one, the Dolphins, they invited offensive lineman Aaron Frost from Arizona State. Did not get a chance to watch Aaron Frost from Arizona State, but again, I'll be doing my deep dive tonight on him to see what we have because I've actually heard decent things about him, to be completely honest with you. So I want to see what this kid's got. So I'll be watching him tonight. You can count on that. Don't worry. So him and Samson will definitely get some watching tonight, for sure. So there you go. I mean, again, camp invites do not count against the 90, and the Dolphins currently have 87 out of their 97 roster spots occupied by contracts. So, I mean, hey, I'm down for Dalton Risner, 110%. You ain't gotta try and convince me. You ain't gotta try and convince me in the slightest. There's a couple, there's names out there. There's definitely names out there, right? Like Dalton Risner, Phil Haynes, Greg Van Roten, Mark Lewinsky, Vaitai. I'm not going to just butcher his name. Call him Vaitai. Justin Pug, Trey Turner, Trey Turner, Tyree Phillips, Wyatt Davis, Pat Elflin. Andres Pete's out there. I honestly, if you could stay healthy, Andres Pete would be near the top of the list. Now, he did stay healthy last year. The problem is, when you look at the years before that, as good as he was vying with Armstead for most time missed on the left side regularly, right? So, great player, though. Can play left guard and can kick out to left tackle. Andres Pete's a fantastic player. If you told me, hey, this man's going to be healthy this year, I would say sign me up. We need a little bit more of a we need a guy with a healthy track record, especially if they're on the left side where Isaiah Wynn doesn't have the healthiest track record, at all. So, that's where I'm at with that. Hey, listen, you ain't got to tell me twice. Go back and watch my grade show. Go back and watch it. Those are 2 players that I actively hyped. Well, Storm Duck, not McMorris. McMorris was Now, there are some guys, like when you watch Mark Perry, it looks like he's got a shot. So, but yeah, Storm Duck, he's got a shot. Uphill battle, but he's got a shot. Now, again, there are some guys there that I really like in the UDFA class, in the secondary specifically, right? Like my favorite UDFAs were Grayson Murphy, Storm Duck, Mark Perry, Isaiah Johnson, another guy who I think is a corner. They're going to from Syracuse. They're probably going to convert to safety. And I like Jordan Colbert, the kid out of Rhode Island. I actually, and I think Matthew Jones, the more I watched him a little bit more last night, I would say those are my favorite. And Andrew Myers even got a shot, I think Matthew Jones and Andrew Myers, that's an interesting battle. Who can back up, Aaron Brewer? Is that going to be Eichenberg, or is Eichenberg going to be in the battle, which I think he will be, with Jack Driscoll at right guard? So there's definitely guys. Man. All right, now I want to play this. Tyreek Hill was doing a Q&A, and he called out a fan. He was doing, like, if you watch like late night TV, they do the reading mean tweets things. So, all right, this is what happened. He was reading mean tweets, and one of the notorious negative people who I've had blocked. I mean, he never did anything to me, but I've had him blocked on Twitter for the last couple of years because I just don't need to hear these people that don't know ball. I don't need your crappy takes on my timeline, basically. That's how I feel, If I think you don't know ball and you haven't done anything to me, you'll still probably get blocked or at least muted because I don't need that crap on my timeline, I don't. But anyways, let's play the clip. This is from Tyreek's latest video on the Soul Runner channel.
Okay, so the next tweet is from Little Scooter 254. It says, at this point, trade Tyreek Hill, Ramsey, and Tua for a lot of picks and redo the build with a new GM. Greer has to go. See, let me tell y'all something, man. Our GM, Chris Greer, he does a great job. And for somebody to say something like this about 3 of the top players on your team says a lot about the character, bro. Like, just be patient. A lot of us just got here. I've been in Miami 2 years. Ramsey been in Miami 4 years. So just be patient, man. If you don't believe in us, I just gotta say it. F them, bro. F them.
Woo! He flipped them off and said, F them, bro. F them. Now, that part I agree with. If you don't believe in them, go watch Herbert. Go watch someone else. Go hop on another bandwagon. We don't need you around here. 110%, I agree with that. Now, in terms of the patience, in all fairness, Tyreek, and I love you. I think you're the best player in the NFL. I'm on record saying this, or arguably the best player in the NFL. I mean, Mahomes is that dude, but you know what I'm saying. We have been patient, bro. We've been waiting over 20 years for a playoff win. Now, has Tyreek been here for 20 years? No. And I will defend Chris Greer here, even though he has been here for like 20 years. I saw these people going up and knocking. First of all, content creators over here and people on YouTube I see who didn't even watch these kids, but they're out here bashing these kids who they've never evaluated a player. They've never watched these kids. And there's multiple. There's not one. And they've never even watched these kids pre-draft. And they're out here speaking like their opinion on the class matters. I'm here to tell you it doesn't. Thank you very much. Let me be the one to tell you that, okay? All right? From someone who puts in all the work and puts over 30 hours into those each big board video, when you add up the evaluation writing, the tape watching that I do, then chopping up the plays, then editing the video, then actually going up. Yeah, sorry, from someone who puts in the work for real, I'm sorry. Listen, if you don't agree with the picks, but I know you put in the work, this is not meant for you. But if you're one of these people who don't even know who these kids were, never watched the film, never written an evaluation in your life, but you're up here saying, oh, this crap, blah, 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 blah. Bro, your opinion don't matter. I'm sorry. It holds no weight. It holds zero weight. Zero weight. The only weight it holds is in your own mind. Okay? I got to get that out first and foremost. Okay? But this whole notion that Chris Greer can't draft, didn't Christian Wilkins just get one of the highest defensive tackle contracts in the NFL? The Raiders sure thought he could draft. Didn't Andrew Van Ginkel get higher than his market value? Minnesota sure thought Chris Grier could draft. Xavier Howard. Javon Holland. Jaylen Waddle. Jaelan Phillips. Tua just led the league in passing. Look at what Austin Jackson's turned into under a good coaching staff. Hell, Eichenberg's turned out to be serviceable. Now, I don't agree with the trade up, especially when Creed Humphrey was on the board. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. But this whole notion that this guy can't draft, it's not Chris Grier's job to develop and get the production out of these kids. That's the coaching staff's job. Robert Hunt just got $20+ million. And he was a second-round pick. $20+ million per year. And he was a second-round pick. Now, me and EM Dolphin fan, if you go back to our mock draft the night before the real draft, we were talking about Robert Hunt on that because he made a ton of sense. Like, the Panthers sure thought Chris Grier could draft with the money they threw at Robert Hunt. So this notion they can't draft is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And why would you trade Tua, who just led the league in passing yards? Why would you trade Tyreek, who just led the league in receiving yards? Like, these people, like, it's like their brain doesn't trigger and fire off logic at all before they hit send on the tweet button. And this goes further. What I've been telling all you. Listen, some people in this community know exactly what player I'm talking about. I had a player hit me up after the Tennessee game. A very prominent player hit me up in the DMs. Okay? On Twitter. They're watching. I told you back then, and I'll tell you again, they're watching, man. They watch. I know for a fact there's people in this community that they'll never get media access. Ever. So, why would we trade? Why would we trade some of our best players on this team? Tyreek, Ramsey, and Tua are arguably 3 of our top 5 best players on this team. Why would we trade them? So we can go back into a rebuild and people can say, oh, I told you so. Tua wasn't good enough when the guy just led the league. Like, that's how skewed and warped these people are. The kid just led the league in passing yards. But and just made the first Dolphins quarterback to make the Pro Bowl as a starter since 1995, while he's been knocking down Marino records over the last 2 years. But they'll tell you that's not good enough. Again, forgetting that there's 52 other players on the team and a coaching staff when it comes to results and production. I don't get it. I don't get it. Over 478 of you in the room. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Man, it's Monday. It is Monday. And so this week, Richmond will be back on Wednesday with me in Ball Game. We'll talk about Detroit from the draft and everything, like his experience out there. We'll go further in depth for all of you that missed it. On Thursday, you're going to want to check in on me and Neil's show, best draft show in this community, Fin Too Deep. We will be live around 5 o'clock, so you're going to want to be looking out on that. And then, we're going to start getting into some prospect profiles for all of you guys. So, and news will be coming as we go along here. So, a lot of content on the way for you Dolphin fans. I appreciate the support from this past weekend. It means the world to me. So much work was put in. It feels like, Monday today felt like the day after Christmas with draft weekend done, where you put in all that work, you put in all that time, all that thought and effort for such a short period of time. But the reward was absolutely fantastic. experiencing that draft and enjoying that draft and the whole process with all of you. I love each and every one of you for having my back. Patreons and channel members, expect a 3 takes this week for all of you guys, all right? So a lot of content coming your way. Do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. As always, you already know what time it is. Fins up, go Fins, whatever floats your boat. And as always, I will catch y'all on the next one. Take it easy, guys and gals.